Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers of 3.0 TV. This is Manoj Dara. So, as per the latest Fish report on stablecoins, the overall capitalization of the sector has shrunk significantly since the collapse of Terra in the May 2022, falling from around USD $189 billion at the end of April to around $144 billion at the end of December. The bankruptcy of the second largest crypto exchange FTX amid a fraud scandal in November, followed by Binance's pause and the withdrawals in December, led to the heightened stablecoin resumption activity, and which is actually unmourning of the Tether's USDT and Binance's BUSD stablecoins from par. Both tokens were only unmoved by slightly amounts of stablecoin trading velocity has actually recovered somewhat. But these events have negatively impacted the overall sentiment. To deliberate more on this, we have invited three special guests. Let me introduce you to Mr. Shamik Raja, MD at Gold Paisa. Shamik, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And our second guest is Mr. Navin Dsouza, co-founder and CEO at Comtech Gold UAE. Navin, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Hi Manoj, thank you. Thank you for having me.
And our third guest is Mr. Oliver Marco. He's a co-founder and CEO of Globaliance. Oliver, welcome on 3.0 TV.
Hello, welcome for having me.
All right, so we'll start with Shamik. Shamik, since we're talking about stable coins and road ahead, you all operate in this space. So how do you, there is one recent announcement which has come for this sector, wherein the World Economic Forum, which has decided to launch the Universal Digital Payment Network, UDPN, and this announcement, how excited are you about this announcement and what is the way forward?
Yes, so I think that the ease of transferring a CBDC into stablecoin through a global network, I think is fantastic. I mean, it makes it easier to go in and out of stablecoin assets, which is really what all of us are speaking about here today and are involved with in some shape or form. So I think this is a fantastic thing that they're doing. And I think that as the market increases in the crypto space, people need an asset class where they can invest and go in and out of their risky asset classes into a stable form without having to remove their funds off the blockchain and into fiat when they're looking for a safe haven before they make their next investment decision. And I think that the ability to do this with CBDC into a stablecoin and vice versa is absolutely fantastic for the industry, and it makes it much easier for customers to reach our asset class and the stable coins that we're involved with.
So Oliver, Shamik is talking about customer more towards customer centric. This announcement is. So what is your first reaction on the UDPN and how this will change the game for the retail sector? If you can just highlight, because actually this announcement goes much deeper. The blockchain company who has actually launched this is, we will not say this is the direct competition to the SWIFT, but this intends to take on this segment on a big scale. What's your opinion?
Right, yeah. So what I wanted to say first is that actually with SWIFT, we have something which is kind of international system. It should work in principle the same way, but still it doesn't reach anyone at the stage in the world. So if there's a new solution to come, yes, we need just to see how will be the adoption and if it really works out that everyone on this planet can be reached. I mean, that's also one of the missions of our company. We try to reach everyone on this planet and connect them with financial solutions. So yes, we welcome any way to achieve that, and to what protocols we use at the end, it doesn't matter, but it has to be something which can be rolled out to the masses. At the moment with current stablecoins, I mean, we have a lot of protocols, but it's a little bit cumbersome for the clients. So now, for example, they have USDT, they have BUSD, then they have USDT on Tron. So to be honest, it's not easy at the moment. We have the stablecoins and they're a good solution. We just need to find the one solution which can work for everyone, because now, honestly, it's too complicated. Fantastic. For everyone to use it. This could be a solution. We will see. There are other solutions planned, as I know of, from the private sector. So we will see which will reach the highest mass adoption in the coming years. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it pans out.
So Navin, a few keywords which I've picked up from what Oliver has mentioned. is there is a lot of confusion regarding the products. So Comtech Gold, how are they well equipped to understand this announcement, and what is the view on that?
See, from an announcement perspective, it is at least important. The good news is now the what you call that the world forums are moving into an acceptance phase.
Fantastic.
So they have moved out from the denial phase to an acceptance phase where they realize that something needs to be done. There's a parallel economy which is growing up, and they need to now accept and build something on it rather than just denying that, okay, nothing happens here. But the most important element on this part, as what Oliver said, is announcement is not only important, but the implementation of these provisions is something which is a key for the success of it.
Fantastic.
So there are multiple stable coins running across the platform. And if you're going to, as you rightly said, it's a competition to Swift, which has been running as a cartel for over a long time. And if you're going to come on heads on and again build another Swift, it's not going to help. So the implementation element of it is very important, where you have to create the essence of decentralization, which allows different stable coins to survive, different stable coins to operate along with each other, and allows the investor the confidence to use any of this in the regulated environment.
Exactly. So Shamik, since we are talking about, Navin mentioned about the regulated environment, my next question to you is, it is important to know that stable coins are now one of the largest sector in the crypto ecosystem, with an outsized role in storing and transferring wealth, which we have seen in 2022. My question to you is, will this trend continue in 2023 as well? We have seen a lot of uncertainties in 2022. So what's your view and opinion on this?
You know, I think that stablecoins in general, I think it really just comes down to control, right? Everything is about control. You see that, and it comes down to US dollar being a reserve currency for so many years.
Exactly.
I think that the problem is not only control, even countries don't want to be controlled, and even individuals themselves don't want to be controlled. And, you know, the more that the globalization and internet is around, you know, voices are heard loud and wide. And it seems a lot of times that controls are being put in place for a select few who are bad actors in the environment, and it affects all the main guys who are trying to do business, all the smaller guys who are trying to do what they want to do. And it's a small segment of bad actors that are, abusing the system. And then it comes down to trade, right? How countries trade with each other. And again, it comes down to control. As soon as you know that you're dealing in dollars and that your dollar tap can be turned off in a minute, you're going to have countries that are going to come out with more stable coins in order to do their business, because they cannot be controlled. And then same way as individuals will also create projects which involve stable coins, because they also don't want to be controlled by their governments. And it really just comes down to a control issue. And as we move away from a very unipolar society where the dollar has been the reserve for so many years, it's hard to say that history will repeat itself and war is coming next, but more so, it seems like it's economic warfare, and it's not so easy to embargo each other anymore because countries get hurt so badly. So it comes down to being able to live with each other, and in order to do that, and you start putting price caps on Russia, and you start doing these types of things, you're going to have stable coins growing bigger and larger, of different sizes, different shapes, different governance, different assets behind it, so that fundamentally countries and even individuals can do business freely without worrying about somebody blocking their funds or someone going and putting embargoes on their wires to their importers where they're bringing tissue paper in, but yet because of one or two bad guys, they can't import their tissue anymore from that country. So this is how I see the world going into a more multipolar situation where it's a battle of money at this point. There's going to be different forms of money and different forms of money with different assets, whether they're natural resources or gold. And countries will come up with these things, but they will be very controlled nonetheless, the same way as a normal fiat currency is. And then individuals like us will come up with more advanced forms of money, which are not controlled by governments, but are more for the people, by the people type of situation. And this is where I see sort of the stablecoin market going and the reasons why it's getting so big.
Fantastic view. Oliver, Shamik has mentioned about two things. He is actually pointing towards game of control and hinting towards something that will change the way we look at finance going forward. What's your view on that?
Right. Yeah. So the control, of course, is one problem. So if we have all these the new CBDCs, it means also that the government can just switch off your money. And there can be also, for example, a mistake in the tax system, which will just freeze all your assets. So that's not actually something which will be quite fair for the consumer at the end. So what we need is a good mix. We need the national currencies, and they can be also, of course, stable coins based on the national currency, which we had before. But then we need private solutions, and also, for example, the CGO token and our GBXG, which is a gold-backed token enabled by Comtech. Why we need that? Because the client does not, like Shamik said, want to depend on a fiat currency behind, but they want to have some tangible asset. So if you remove your reserves, you don't want them to be impacted by a crash, for example, of dollar as a main currency. So yes, today we have most of the stable coins pegged to the dollars, but we understand already that this is not a solution for the future. So going forward, a gold-backed stablecoin enables me to take my wealth off the system and hold it on my wallets. And I can control, only I can control my wealth. And I'm sure that, yes, of course, gold fluctuates also a bit in the price, but there's no major fiat currency crash which can just impact everything what I have, and tomorrow I'm standing there with nothing. It's just not going to happen with the gold behind.
Fantastic. So Navin, Oliver has also mentioned about few things. Is about, we're talking about stability, and there are a lot of stable coins that are pegged to US dollar. Just to mention few is like a Tether, Circle, and Binance BUSD, which is roughly around US dollar 127 billion, and at the end of 2022 constituting 90% of the stablecoin sector. So, I mean, there is no competition if you talk about this. So how do you see this sector evolving going forward as well? What is your view?
See, we see a lot of development coming onto the sector, especially from people trying to move away from dollars. You have seen some announcements from some government agencies also saying that they want to do dealings in assets which actually have an underlying value.
Exactly.
Shamik mentioned about control, and that control is one-sided, where you have a control from the currency, but you do not have a control on the currency. So specifically during your COVID times, you had a lot of US dollar being printed, and the entire world is now running through the after effects of it. So now people are trying to move back to the old gold standard days and the others, where whatever asset you used to trade in actually had its underlying store of value. But the limitation at that point in time on these assets, specifically with gold, was that about fungibility and transferability. But now what blockchain has evolved and allowed is to have this fungibility and transferability on the gold itself. So we are getting calls from a lot of people who say that, okay, we don't want to do dealings in dollars, but we want to deal in gold, where we will tell our suppliers and our customers that we will accept payment in gold, because at the end of it, they see a value in it. And with blockchain, like CGO tokens, you can go as low as 0.01 gram, and it has its underlying value, which you know that that's a gold lying behind it.
Fantastic. That's all there is in today's special episode in Digitally Unplugged. This is Manohar Dara signing off. But keep watching 3.0 TV for more such interesting interviews and updates from the global guests. Thank you.